Let's talk about the aura. We all have an aura. Even if you cannot see it, you can probably feel the aura, but this is something that many are shamed for, and this is something that comes natural to many, especially many children. Most of us can see the aura as a baby, but this tends to fade over time. But for some, it doesn't. And there are two reasons why I want to talk about this today. But let's take this flower for example. This flower smells really good. That is the essence of the flower and the scent, but I cannot see the scent of this flower. I cannot see why it smells good or where it's coming from. So imagine that I shame this flower and say, how do you smell like that? You are not from God. Okay, this is something that has happened to me in a sense in the last few years. So I'm going to talk about that and a time that a woman told me that being able to see auras was not from God. But when you look at the rainbow and the aura, that is the essence of God. The rainbow represents wholeness and completeness in God. This is the number 10. This is both the mother and the father. So I talk about that in my video about rainbow children. And there was also an event that I worked at recently, and this was rainbow themed. So I will share that also. But the other reason why I want to talk about this today is because we are losing color in nature. For example, butterflies are losing their color due to deforestation. So there are a lot of ways that we are losing color in nature. Another example would be this artichoke tea. I have been making this for many years. This is an ancient recipe that was given to me long ago, and it has always turned this blue teal color. This is a detox tea, and when you boil it, this is what the color turns into eventually. But in the last year or so, any artichoke that I have had access to, it no longer turns this color anymore. It stays clear, maybe even a hint of yellow, and I'm not saying that there are not any artichokes out there that still will hold the natural color, but I have not been able to reach them. We are definitely losing color. There are ways that we can use color to enhance the natural aura and to complement our lifestyle and our home, and we can do this responsibly without harming the planet. And if you don't know, I am also an esthetician. So when I have a client that asks me, what products should I use? Of course, there are products that I recommend for their personal skin type. The first thing that I say to anybody is to use products that complement your soul. Instead of following trends online, which I absolutely love that we have the internet and social media to connect to one another in these ways, trends can lead to a lot of problems. And what happens when we have products that are harming nature in the way that they are made, or animal abuse or torture or testing on animals, is this is lessening the aura. This is depleting the aura. This is incredibly harmful to nature, and nature is where we get this essence. It is absolutely useless to use harmful products that are harmful to nature or our body to appear better on the outside when our aura is within. Our soul is inside. It is expressed through every cell of our body, every single cell of our body. This is our glow. This is our aura. So it doesn't really matter what you put on the outside if the aura is being damaged or if we are causing harm, because aura is about expansion of light. It is not going to cause harm to your body through chemicals, to animals, or to nature. She gives us what it is we need. And again, trends are a little bit, sometimes can do this too, because then they mass produce things and then they make products cheaper, things like that, right? It is really about quality over quantity, especially when it comes to your aura. You have a core aura color, and this is connected to your North Star. That is your personality and your spirit. The spirit and the soul, they work hand in hand with one another, and they are both connected to your heart. So, of course, the aura begins within. And as I always say, good skin begins within as well, but we can use things external to us, including color, to complement. So just like we don't want to rely on a relationship to complete us, We do not want to rely on products and makeup and things outside of this event that I went to. I was called back a second year, and I absolutely love these people. This was also a self-care theme, of course, which is why I was called there. They had a woman who did color matching, and I have never had it done in this way before, so this was a new perspective for me, and I absolutely loved it. And it was funny when I was brought up there because I said, oh wow, I can see auras. I wonder if this is going to go together, and it did in many ways, but not in the way I thought, because the colors that I like and what I thought I was going to match with is not what I matched with. It was almost as though it did somewhat of the opposite on the color wheel, but not completely. So I am naturally very neutral in as far as skin tone, and of course my hair is dyed darker and my eyebrows are drawn on, so I didn't know how that was going to go. And she said, I really think you're still going to be a winter, and she said you look just like her. The idea is that these colors, even though they wouldn't be my choice to wear, this is what looked good on. So I know that I will be further incorporating this, and I did take classes on this so long ago, but I have never actually went through it, and now it's been many years. So I really love this, and I highly recommend this to anybody. But this is even somewhat included in my identity work because I go straight to the star and the soul. The star is your core aura color, but you will be able to fluctuate throughout all of the rainbow. And I do discuss this in my video about rainbow children, how this comes together, how you can move up and down these different colors, but your core aura is the way that you see yourself. It is kind of like how you move through the world, and it is going to look good as a tint, in a sense, to anywhere that you go. There are some colors that are going to be more complementing than others. It is not the same as this color match. That's going to be more of the external, but how we feel on the outside absolutely does affect how we feel on the inside. So the other thing I was going to mention is when I was at a skin study once, a skin clinic, I was in the room with two other women, and woman two, I'll call her and I were talking a lot. And woman one was church woman, and she was telling woman two, she was trying to convince her to go to her church, and she was kind of pushy about it. And I know she maybe had good intentions, but that's not what happened and the way it comes off. Sometimes what many think is moral is actually not exactly that. So woman number two told me that her niece calls her Auntie Orange, and that she called somebody else in her family Auntie Purple or another color. Well, I told her, I wonder if she can see your auras. And I had just had a client 2 days prior that told me that she came to me and said that her daughters can see auras. So woman number two, she said, I think that is what it is too. There was a reason she felt called to discuss that with me. Well, woman number one, church woman, eventually turned to me and said, I do deliverance too, but I do it God's way. So to shame somebody, now the child doesn't choose to see auras. I did not ask to see auras. It wasn't something I sought after. This is something that has came natural to me since very young. And if you are meant to see auras, you're going to see auras. So to shame that gift within me is the same as me or a child is to shame this flower for smelling good. And we don't want to do that, because shaming is taking away that essence of God that wants to be expressed through us, right? So there are better ways that we can support one another with understanding nature and the aura. This is something that we were not really taught about, but just because I don't understand why this flower smells good doesn't mean that there's something wrong with it, right? It doesn't mean that it's evil. It doesn't mean it's going against God. For me to shame this flower would actually be going against the essence of God that is so very much trying to stay alive within all of us. We would be in a very horrific place without any color. And again, there are ways that we can embrace this within one another, and we can embrace each other's aura instead of tearing each other down. That is lessening the aura. Just like tearing the trees down, the butterfly loses the color of its wings.